Hi, this is Tamara from mooglyblog.com, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to make Fortune's Shawlette, which is a free crochet pattern that you'll find on mooglyblog.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can find the link to the rest of the tutorial as well as the yarn and hook used in the description. For this tutorial, I will be using Lion Brand Yarn's Modern Baby, which is a nice chainette yarn which will show the stitch definition particularly well, as well as my furls hook. So let's go ahead and begin. Now to begin this pattern, we're going to go ahead and start with a slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, now to begin this shawl, we are going to work from the bottom up. So we're down at the point of the triangle right now. So what we're going to do is go into the 4th chain from the hook. I like to work in the back hump, but if you prefer to work in the top 2 loops, that's fine. It's completely up to you. And I'm going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. There we go. A little clumsy today. There we go. There's a double crochet. Then I will chain 1. I'm going to skip the next chain and double crochet in the very last chain. Now when I've got this stitch completed here, that is the end of row 1, and that is our first little block. This crochet pattern is made with a series of blocks worked sort of in a corner to corner fashion. So this is row 1, this is the first block, and this tail is actually going to point down at the point of our shawl. Alright, so let's start row 2. Now row 2 begins and ends pretty much like every row after this. We're going to go ahead and start again with a chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then I am going to again double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. Pull through 2. Pull through 2, then chain 1, then skip the next chain and double crochet in the next chain, which is the first of the 6 that we made. Alright, now let's pull up our first block here, and I got a little twisted because I was working into the back humps, but this is forwards when we've turned our work. And you can see right here is the chain 3. Now we started with a chain 6, but this chain 3 didn't get worked into, they got skipped. So we want to slip stitch in this chain 3 space right here. And that anchors the first block of row 2 down. We're also going to work the second block of row 2 into this chain 3 space. So we'll begin with a chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. Then just as before, a double crochet going right into that chain space. 1, then chain 1, and because we're working in a big space here, we don't have to worry about skipping 1. We can just double crochet right in that chain 3 space again. There we are, and that's the end of row 2. Row 1 had 1 block, row 2 has 2 blocks. Let's make row 3 together. We'll start just as before with a chain of 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. Like so. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the last chain, the first of the 6 that we made. Alright, and then we come down here to that last block we made in row 2. I'm going to slip stitch in the chain 3 space, just right into that space. To anchor that one down. Now we make another block. We chain 3, double crochet right into that chain 3 space. Oop. Pull that one out of the way. There we go. Chain 1, and then double crochet back in that chain 3 space again. That brings us to the next block here in row 2. So we'll go into that chain 3 space, and slip stitch in there. Make another one. Chain 3, double crochet into that chain 3 space, chain 1, and double crochet into that chain 3 space again. And that's the end of row 3. And you can see we're already getting that great triangular shape. Remember, our tail is down here at the point, so you should have a straight side on either side of the triangle, and you can see quite easily that we have the same number of blocks as we do rows. So row 1 has 1 block, row 2 had 2 blocks, row 3, 3 blocks. 1, 2, 3. You can count across the top. They're very easy to see. You can count up the side. 1, 2, 3. 3 rows, 3 blocks. So let's continue making rows just as before. Anytime we come to that chain 3 space, we slip stitch into it and make another block. We always want to make sure to work the ends as well so we can keep increasing. So I'm going to make a few more rows and then I'll come back and show you how to finish this off. All right, and here we are. I've made 6 rows of the pattern. You can count again the blocks up the side or just count the little sawtooth edge here across the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 blocks, 6 rows. So in the written pattern, which again is free on mooglyblog.com, I have obviously a much bigger shawl. This is a teeny tiny little thing, but I'm going to stop here for the sake of time and show you how to make the straight edge followed by the decorative edging. So first, the straight edge. Now, to do so, I'm going to start off much the same way, but I'm only going to chain 4. So 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to skip the chain closest to the hook and work a single crochet in the next chain here, like so. Then chain 1. Then I am going to skip the next chain and work a double crochet in the chain after that. So much like the other blocks, except there's only a chain 1 and a single crochet for the first double crochet. Okay, let's get ready. Now, like before, we will make our slip stitch right in that chain 3 space. Then we'll make our new block here, our finishing block. Chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in that chain 3 space, just like all our other blocks. Go to the next chain 3 space, slip stitch in there, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And we'll continue doing that on across this last row here. Now in the pattern, it calls for you to make 40 rows before you make this sort of top off row. But you can certainly add more rows if you want a bigger shawl, or delete some rows if you want a smaller shawl. You will probably need to adjust the edging a little bit, maybe fudge some of the numbers to make it work if you add or subtract rows, but that's okay too. We crocheters are a creative bunch. I have faith in you. So we're finishing up here, just a couple more of these to make, and we'll have our top edge. Okay, go into the last one, and just as before, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet. All right, and there's our top edge. You can tell it's still a little bit scalloped, but it doesn't have that jagged sawtooth edge, and it's a nice top to our shawl. So now, rather than flipping our work over like we normally might working in rows, we're going to turn this way and work a decorative edging. Remember, this is the point of our shawl that will hang down, but we're going to work back and forth in rows here to create the decorative edge. So let's start with the first round, or the first row, I should say, of the edging. We're going to chain 1, and in the side of each block, including this last one, we're going to work 2 single crochets all the way down towards the point. So 2 single crochets around that last double crochet we just made. Then come down here, and I'm going to work these 2, I think, in between these 2 legs right here. 1, 2. Then come down here, work 2 around this double crochet. If it helps visually, I tend to skip, because these go back and forth. I always have sort of 2 stitches or lines of single chains in between each of these pairs of double crochet. Just helps me visually know that I'm on track. There we are. 2 more. 2 more. And then here we are coming down to the point. I'm going to go ahead and work 2 more. Oops, let me pull that back down. Sorry about that. Work 2 more here as we head towards the point. And then I'm going to work 1 right at the point here. 1 extra one, I guess you could call it. And then I don't have a stitch marker with me, but it's a good idea to stick a stitch marker right in that stitch right there, so you always know which one is the center stitch right at the point. Now I'm going to do the same thing going back up the other side, working 2 single crochets in each block along the edge here. 1, 2, 1, oh, that's too soon. Let's see here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And if you would like to count them, you can count them. You know how many rows you've made, so you know how many single crochets you should have, plus that one at the point. And we're coming up here to the end again. And for these 2 at the very, I guess, top edge, I like to work the second one actually right into the edge of that last stitch rather than along the body of the stitch here. It just helps to connect it just a little bit better so you get a nice straight edge along the top. There we are. Still want to keep the actual body of the stitch on the side, but you can play with that a little bit and see what works best for you. Okay, so there's row 1 of the edging. We've worked 2 single crochets in each side of each block plus 1 extra right at the point. So for row 2, we're going to start with a chain 2, and turning to work back the other way, we're going to work a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet in the very first stitch here. That chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so we're going to double crochet, 1, 2, 3, double crochet right back in that same stitch again. Okay, then working our way back towards the point, I'm going to skip 2 stitches and then work double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. The only time we chain 3 is up at the ends here, up by the top of the shawl. So we'll do one at the beginning and one at the end of this row. But otherwise it's chain 2, like so, and double crochet back in that same stitch. Okay, like so. Skip 2 more, double crochet in the next one, chain 2, 1, 2, and the double crochet back in that same stitch again. Okay, so skip 2, another double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, and then I'm going to skip 2, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Now, if I had remembered my stitch marker, this would be the marked stitch right here. This is the stitch right at our point. So there's only 1 stitch between here and the point, so I'm only going to skip 1 stitch, and then in the point stitch, I'm going to work the same thing right there, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, then I'm going to skip, move that tail out of the way here, skip just 1 and do it again, double crochet, my yarn's all creeping up on me here, there we go, chain 2, double crochet right in the same stitch, and then we go back to our normal thing where we skip 2 and then make the double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. And we'll continue that up on the other side here until we reach the top again. Skip 2, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. All right, skip 2, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, and of course on a full-size shawl you'll be doing this a lot more times. Then finally we have 3 stitches left, so we skip 2, and in the very last one, that's where we work double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. And there we go. That's round 2 of the edging for the Fortune's Shawlette. Now let's move on to row 3. We're halfway through the edging already, and this one's pretty darn simple. We're going to start with a chain 2, just to get our height. Again, that doesn't count as a stitch. And then I'm going to work a double crochet right in that very last double crochet we made in the previous row, so the first one for this row. Double crochet. Then on my way down to the point, I'm going to work 2 double crochets in each chain 2 space. Well, starting in the chain 3. So 2 double crochets in the chain 3, then 2, 2, 2, 2 on down to the point. Point's going to be a little different, but again, that's easy to spot. You can keep a stitch marker in the chain 2 at the point if you need to. So let's head our way down here. In the chain 3 space, I'll work 2 double crochets, like so. Then I will actually chain 2. We want to chain 2 in between each of these. Forgot to mention that part, but it's important. Chain 2, and then 2 double crochets in the next chain space. And remember to work in the chain 2 spaces, not between the double crochets. It might look like there's a space here, and obviously there is one. I can stick my finger through it, but we didn't chain it all here, so that's not a chain space. We just want to go in between those double crochets with these. So we chain 2 to get over there, and then 2 double crochets in the next chain space. Chain 2, 2 double crochets in the next chain space, on down towards the point. Speeding up a little bit here. Hopefully you know how to make double crochets. If not, you can go back and watch a video on how to make double crochets. I do have those on the Moogly blog channel. Alright, so if we chain 2 and we have come to the V here that's at the point. So in this one, we're going to work 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now we go back to our old thing. We're going to chain 2 to give us some space to get to the next chain space here, and we work 2 double crochets in there. And we'll continue that on up the other side here. Pull up a little more yarn. There we go. So we need another one in here. Then again, we chain 2, then 2 double crochets in the next chain 2 space. On up the side. Pretty easy. Double crochets and chains. Alright, we're almost there. Okay, so we've come back up the other side. We've come to the chain 3 space that we started off the last row with. So we'll work 2 double crochets in there and then finish off with a double crochet right in that last stitch, not the chain 2, but that first double crochet we made in the last row. And there we go. That is what row 3 of the edging should look like. Alright, so now it is time for row 4. Row 4 is full of modified picots, and I know picots are not everybody's favorite, but this is a much easier way of making them, so I think you'll really enjoy it. We're going to start with a chain 1, and then turning the work back the other way. I'm actually going to skip that last stitch we just made and slip stitch in the next stitch, like so. Okay. Then I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, then I'm going to slip stitch in the next stitch, like so. And that is our little picot edge. So to get over to this next pair of double crochets, first let me pull up some more yarn. I had it all pulled out, but now it wants to tangle on me. There we go. That came out easy. All right, so we've got our chain 2 here, so we have to get over here. So we're going to chain 2 again. Chain 2, we're at our next pair of double crochets, so we'll slip stitch in the first one. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch in the second one. And there's our next one. Okay, so again, we chain 2 to work our way over. Slip stitch in the first of the pair of double crochets, chain 3, slip stitch in the second one, chain 2 to travel, slip stitch in the first one, chain 3, slip stitch in the second one. Alright, just one more before we get to the point. So chain 2, slip stitch, chain 3, slip stitch again, and then we can tell we're at the corner here, the point, we've got our 5 double crochets. So to get over to those, once again, I'm going to chain 2, then I'm going to slip stitch in the first one, like so, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the second one, and I'm going to slip stitch right away again in the third one, the middle of those 5, like so, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and this one I'm going to slip stitch again in the same stitch, keep it nice and centered there on the point, slip stitch into the next one, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch into the last one. So over those 5 double crochets, we've made 3 of those little picots right there. Okay, so now it's time to work our way back up the other side. The tough part's over. We're going to chain 2, get over to the next pair of double crochets, slip stitch, chain 3, and slip stitch. Chain 2 more to travel, get over there, slip stitch, chain 3, and slip stitch again. Chain 2 more, get over to the next pair, slip stitch, there we go, chain 3, 2 and 3, and slip stitch in the next one. Chain 2 more, got just a couple more pairs left here. Let me pull up a little more yarn. There we are, slip stitch in the first one, chain 3, slip stitch in the second one, and then we've got our last chain 2, because we're coming up to the end here. We're going to slip stitch in the first one, chain 3, slip stitch in the last one, or the second one, and then we've got this one extra one here, so we'll just go ahead and slip stitch right in there, and then cut our yarn and finish off. Again, assuming this was a full-size shawl. Right now it's maybe a good size for a Barbie doll. So there you have it. That's Fortune's Shawlette. Now after you've done all the crocheting, you're going to want to block it, because that is really what opens up the lace pattern. You can see it looks a little bunchy just as is, but when you block it out, you can see the lace really opens up quite a bit. I like to just get the yarn really wet and then pin it out nice and big to help the lace dry opened up. When I pin it, I just pin along the top, of course, and then I pin one in each of these little picots to help pull it apart and get the lace looking nice. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Go to the links in the pattern and in the description, and you'll find the written pattern as well as charts for both the main stitch pattern and the edging. So I hope you like what you've watched here today. Be sure to subscribe to the mooglyblog.com channel, and thank you so much for watching.